The Cowboys OT is brought to you by Sleep Number. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. And NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
The Bears get beat in a battle with the star. 49-29, the final score. The Dallas Cowboys take down the Chicago Bears in Week 8 of the NFL season at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. It was a friendly confine and a friendly result as the Cowboys head into the bye week at 6-2 and on a 2-game winning streak, both of them up against the NFC North. Welcome in to Cowboys OT from the Star in Frisco in the Globe Life Studios with a trio of former Cowboys, Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. And gentlemen, it starts with Tony Pollard on the ground. A 3-touchdown day for Tony Pollard. The Cowboys get up over 40 points for the first time this season. It's a 40-burger for everybody, but it was the ground game, setting up the pass, and then the defense even getting in the mix with a defensive touchdown as well.
Without a doubt, this Cowboys team, they leaned on their strength offensively, which is the ground game. They leaned on Tony Pollard, and he had a heck of a day. 14 rushes, 131 yards, 3 touchdowns out there. And hats goes off to that offensive line because a lot of those holes he was running through, he didn't get touched until he was 5 or 6 yards down the field. And we know how explosive he is if you let him get started out there. He had a heck of a day. That offensive line did a great job in protecting him from the run and protecting Dak Prescott in the passing attack. So kudos goes to that offense. Defense a little leaky, but they did the job that they needed to do to get the job done. Hats goes off. Great Cowboys win.
And I just want to go back behind you, Barry, and say offensive line, great job. Y'all did a great job protecting Dak. Y'all got Tony Pollard off to a good run. Y'all blocked well for Malik Davis. I love how y'all played y'all game today. Offensive line, great job.
Tony Pollard, Tony Pollard, Tony Pollard. That's what you need to say. Normally he has a whole SWAT team committee with Zeke coming down trying to bust down our front door, and then he usually creeps in right behind him. But today, Tony Pollard ran in there full speed, kicked the door down, and just ran wherever he wanted to. Nate already talked about it, how the offensive line created some holes. He took full advantage of them. He hit a couple people with the snaky leg and went out there and made some big plays. Big win for these guys.
Lots of different areas of this football game that were circled that needed to be improved after last week's win over Detroit were improved. Now there are some other holes that we're going to talk about later on, but let's see how this one unfolded from the jump. The second straight game against the NFC North. They got the win last week against Detroit, looking to go back-to-back against that division. They wanted to establish the run early. They did just that. 11 plays, 75 yards on the opening drive. Prescott scores to start the scoring in the first, but that wasn't all in that opening frame. Second drive, second score. CeeDee Lamb found for 21 yards out. 14-0 Dallas early. However, first drive of the second for the Bears, they answered. Justin Fields, so elusive, weaves his way home to get on the board. He had 58 rushing yards, but Dak Prescott had a couple of his own as well. 25 yards, this one putting it all the way down to the 18-yard line, where one play later, Tony Pollard, we just mentioned him, this was the first of a trio of his, rumbling his way home from 18 yards out and getting them on the board, Nate.
I tell you what, man, he had plenty of options right there. Great move. Is that stinky leg you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
They got it to the end zone.
Very nicely done. Fourth drive for the Cowboys, same story. This time the play action leads to Jake Ferguson, his second touchdown, and he hawk ties Dalton Schultz in a celebration. Dallas having some fun early, up 28-7, but hold on. Bears on offense, pressure. This looks like it's even going to continue snowballing for Chicago. Trayvon Diggs with an interception, but not so fast, Barry. Chauncey Golston called for roughing the passer.
Man, this is soft with a capital S. I mean, look at this right here. The man goes up to try to make a play, barely grasps the face mask of Justin Fields. They call it back. I mean, it's hard enough to play defense in this league already.
Chicago scores just a few plays later. This one makes it a 2-score game at 28-14. Dallas, prior to the half, wanted to test it. They were feeling good on offense, but the greediness leads to a pick over the middle, and it's returned all the way back inside the 30-yard line, inside the 25, finally taken down, and it leads to a field goal. It's a 11-point Cowboys lead at halftime, 28-17. That momentum for the Bears continued into the third. Chicago cut the lead to 5 with this 12-yard Khalil Herbert touchdown, and Dallas would have to answer, but they did so with Tony Pollard. His his second score of the game, puts them back up by 12, trying to exploit it all the way through. You look at the ground game and the elusiveness from Justin Fields. He finds David Montgomery here. What happens to David Montgomery? He loses the football, Isaiah. It's picked up by Micah Parsons, but he's not touched, and he's going to take this one with a bevy of defenders around him all the way back to pay dirt, and he scores.
Coach always told you to play through the whistle, and there was no doggone whistle. Here it is right here. You got Van Der Esch with the arrow punch and bunch right here. Then you got with the scoop it. And guess what? You don't want to touch me? No, do your box jump up over me. Thank you very much. I'm going to be Micah Parsons now. I'm going to go ahead and get up, secure the ball, and I'm going to run this thing back with the whole committee.
First touchdown of his career for the defender, Micah Parsons. Third touchdown of the game for Tony Pollard. This was on third down and short. It looked like it was a tackle for loss, but instead it's the dagger for the Dallas Cowboys. 49-29, they take down the Chicago Bears, and they did so behind a massive running attack. 200 yards on the ground. Now, they were gashed for 240 on the other end, but they held Justin Fields in the passing attack for the Bears to just 131 through the air. And you talked about it previously in the week, Nate. 9 of 11 on third down. That was a place where they needed to improve.
Definitely. They were 6 for 6 at halftime, so they jumping up the way they did, and they just cruised all the way through. But that time of possession still scary, though. 23 minutes. We need to pick that up.
Pick it up a little bit. But that offense did what they needed to do, and it's a 40-burger for the first time in the 2022 season. When we come back on Cowboys OT, we can take a deep dive into how Pollard was successful, how Dak Prescott was successful, and who got involved in the passing game in the win over the Bears.
This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
20-point win for the Dallas Cowboys, and their offense took care of business. 9 of 11 on third down, 442 yards, 6 touchdowns on the offensive end, now 7 total in the ball game to get to the 49-29 final score. And you take a look at just the one turnover that was right at the end of the second quarter, just trying to push things down the field, and maybe not the best decision from a play call standpoint and maybe a decision standpoint on the field as well. That all becomes a moot point whenever you win a game with 49 points on the board and you win it by 20 at home. Nate Newton, what were your thoughts on how the offense performed tonight?
They opened up nice, running the ball, getting things going right for the half, like that bad play. But I'm telling you, Dak is coming along. I mean, he's finding his tight ends. He's finding his intermediate routes. I know he want to get deep, but just be patient. Dak is coming. And you looked at nice today. Offensive line, great job.
Now, you hit right on it. These guys were able to have an efficient and effective running game. You talk about 9 for 11 on third down. That's how you move the doggone chains. That's what you do as an offensive line. That's how you do as an offense collectively. And then it opens it up for your play action. We know that Dak Prescott, as a play action quarterback, it allows for him to get outside the pocket a little bit, dump it down to his tight ends. And then again, what do you do, Nate? You move the doggone chains, and then you hand that thing off the TP and let him do what he do.
Let's talk about the running game a little bit specifically, because you talk about what they were able to do with Tony Pollard, but without Ezekiel Elliott in the fold, the 10th time in his NFL career where he is inactive, you thought there was going to be a lack of physicality. Did you see a lack of physicality out there?
No, sir. No, sir, I did not. Tony Pollard did a great job, and it all started with the offensive line.
Yes.
I mean, the offensive line, I don't care how great of a running back you are. We've seen it around the league for many years. There's a lot of really good backs that get kind of caught behind bad offensive lines, but this is not the case here. These guys open up a lot of running lanes, and every running back has a responsibility. You see it right there. You have to beat one guy. You can't block up absolutely everybody. So you're asking your running back to have one MDM, most dangerous man, simply take care of him, and that's what you see the result of right here. Playing physical, running through Brisker and everybody else on the defense. They did a great job there.
I tell you what, Coach Philman, I like how you finally decided that who your starting 5 is, because now you get a chance to play all together as one unit, and it's paying dividends, because now the running back knows where his cuts is. He knows where his front side and back side cuts are, and then you see Tony Pollard just taking advantage of it.
He definitely did. One of the best games of his career. Let's talk about Dak Prescott through the air, though. His final stat line reads like this: 21 of 27 passing, 250 through the air, 2 touchdowns and the 1 interception. Ends up at about a 115 passer rating. When you were looking at Dak Prescott, would you rate his second game back from injury?
It's nice. I look at it as nice. For that one bad boo-boo, it got me in a little hissy fit, but you know what? Nice, Dak. You did what you had to do, and you stayed efficient, and you even ran the ball. I love it.
Yeah, you definitely read the hissy fit over here. But I think he what we talked about in the pregame show, he needed to make better decisions. And I think for the most part, aside from that one play call, which came down from McCarthy, he checked the box, and then Kellen Moore allowed for the play call to be had, and then he threw it, right? So it was a trifecta of bad decisions. But that's okay. That goes away. He did a great job of making good decisions. You see it here, play action, making nice little easy passes to CD Lamb. He got the ball to Gallup early, got it down to Schultz, Ferguson, and Hendershot. I mean, all these tight ends, that's a whole other thing we got to talk about. Right. This tight end group is playing really well, but he's utilizing those guys, and he's making easy, high-precision passes where they allow the chains to get moving. He's not going to – he keeps trying to take the shot down the field, Nate, but I think they keep teaching him and telling him, take what the defense is giving you.
It's funny. You always want consistency out of your quarterback, right? Well, from this week, where he was 6 incompletions, he had a 115 passer rating. You go back 1 week ago, he had 6 incompletions and a 114 passer rating. It was about as consistent as you could get, and like you said, he added a couple extra touchdown passes. Did throw the interception, but outside of the interception, it felt like he was finding a rhythm. This offense finally clicked. How much did the separation from the receivers play into that?
I think, again, it goes back to the running game. And this offense is really dictated on what they can do on the ground. If this offense can run the ball as effectively as they did today, and it doesn't even have to be that amazing, then you're allowed to run your play action. You see most of the passes that are coming from Dak Prescott are off of the play action pass, whether that's CD Lamb on post routes, whether that's getting guys on Schultz and some of these other tight ends on the underneath routes. That's what this team does. They're not a drop back and throw the ball 40-time team.
I tell you what, man, when I look at this thing and I think about Emmett, and I know he had to be proud of it today to see these young guys, Tony Pollard and Malik Davis. Is it Malik Davis? I got that right, the running back, doing what they had to do, man. And the way Kellum reined it in after that one bad boo-boo, he came out in the second half, and they was consistent. Balance is going to be the key. Don't get me wrong. We're going to have to throw this thing to win it in the end. But as long as we be balanced and keep that running attack going, we should be okay.
I like what you said there on a week where it's the 20th anniversary of the record being broken, Emmitt Smith and the all-time leading rusher, passing Walter Payton, of course, the former Chicago Bear. But you said it. He was in the building. Daryl Moose Johnston was on the call. I mean, it was so fun to watch those guys because this is the powerful run game that's setting up the pass that you guys played with in the Great Wall of Dallas and what you did up front back in the 90s. You got to have that kind of 1-2 punch offensively to get it done. Speaking of getting it done, the defense did just that on their side of things. When we come back on Cowboys OT, we mentioned how they got that 49-29 win over the Chicago Bears.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys OT, defensive stats from the 49-29 win over the Chicago Bears. 4 sacks, a couple of them through that second half. 2 in that ball game all the way through for the Cowboys as they continue to really show that front 7 and how relentless they could potentially be in the backfield as we welcome you back to the Star in Frisco and the Globe Life Studios with Barry Church and Isaiah Stanback about to break down how the defense got things done. They had a defensive touchdown with Micah Parsons in that second half. That was really a game-changing moment because if you take that out of the equation, you never know how Chicago can get right back into the thick of that thing, which they did early on, and a big reason for that was the run game. Was that a problem, and is that a problem moving forward for the Cowboys if they run defense is not as stout as they are right now?
You know, I would say it is a problem. I would definitely say it is a problem. I mean, you give up 240 yards on the ground, it's a problem, and it's right up the gut. It's not like these guys are stretching the outside out there and they're, capturing the edge all the time. These guys are getting a lot of their chunk plays right in the thick of your defense. I mean, you brought in a guy like Hankins to help, solve that rushing problem, and it got a little bit worse out there for these guys. And I understand what they were going against, an athletic quarterback out there who he can do dangerous things with his legs, so you kind of have to have your eyes on him. But that's still no excuse to give those, those yards up to those 2 other backs out there as well. So this is a problem for the Dallas Cowboys, and they got to be able to fix it because if they have aspirations to get far and make these long playoff runs, you're going to have to be able to stop the running attack out there. And they weren't able to do that again today. They did the job that they needed to do to get the W, but we keep saying this: if you're going against better teams, eventually it's going to catch up to you. They got to get this run defense solved, and they got to get it solved fast.
Mr. DCBC tells no lies. I don't.
All facts.
They made a great move in the front office this week in bringing in Big Jonathan Hankins, and I think we saw the positive impact of having him in there on some of those scenarios today. But let's call a spade a spade. The Chicago Bears run the ball really well.
They do.
That's what it is. Okay, this defense definitely needs to improve in this aspect of their game, but you have to give homage and give respect to this team. And one thing they do well offensively is run the ball. They have two really good running backs that they utilized today, and they were both effective against this run defense.
16 carries for Herbert, 99 yards. David Montgomery had 15 carries for 53, and then Justin Fields finished 8 for 60. So you really put the three-headed monster in the backfield. You knew that was going to be a problem. Is it a bigger problem knowing that that is their only identity and you still couldn't slow it down?
Yeah, I would say so, because you knew what was going to happen, right? You knew they were going to come into this game and they were going to try to pound the ball down your throat. So all week, that's what you're doing leading up to this game. How do we stop this run? How do we limit these guys in the rushing attack? And you weren't able to do that. They came down here and they punched you dead in the mouth and they kept it going. Now, I will say this. The secondary is playing outstanding. Whether you have Anthony Brown on one side, Diggs on the other side, the rookie Bland came in there and did a great job against the pass. But we all knew Chicago was not a great passing offense. They run the football, like you said, Isaiah, and they were able to get things done on the ground against the Cowboys. But luckily, we had a big enough lead, and that let our defense kind of pin our ears back and get after Fields. Had a couple takeaways as well, and that helped us get a victory.
You had to go ahead and ask it, huh, Kyle? You just had to ask it. I did. The answer to your question is yes. It is really bad when you know a team only effect on you is going to be running the ball on the ground and you still can't stop it. That's very discouraging. It's something that this front office is very well aware of. I mean, like I said, they already are trying to address it. They will continue to work on it. Dan Quinn will continue to get these guys right. They will figure this thing out by the end of the season, or at least by the time the playoffs show up, if they're in a position to be able to go.
But how encouraging was it, though, the fact that whenever Chicago was running the ball, play after play, and really getting downfield and having success, that this defense had the resilience enough to turn things around when they desperately needed to late in that game?
And that's what this defense does. I mean, we know they're obviously their motto is resilience, and they have shown that every single game this year. I don't think there's any question in regards to that. You just want to see teams be less effective running the ball.
Yeah, I will say this. That bend but don't break defense, it does work for this Cowboys. They get to the red zone, and they're very stingy once they get to the red zone. I just need them to do that in the middle of the field or when the series is starting. I need them to be stingy from there at that point on. But if they can continue to get after the quarterback and create takeaways like they've been doing, I think they'll be just fine.
Justin Fields held to just 17 of 23 passing, 131 yards. He did have the 2 touchdowns, but really it was the ground game that got them down there for 2 short touchdown throws for Justin Fields. The Cowboys get the job done defensively, but it was the offense that finally stole the show. That's the first time we could really say that this season. When we come back here on Cowboys OT, we go back out to Arlington and AT&T Stadium. We'll hear from Coach Mike McCarthy right after this. Cowboys OT from the Star in Frisco following a Dallas Cowboys win over the Chicago Bears, 49-29 at AT&T Stadium. Kyle Yeoman's back with you. Let's go back out to AT&T Stadium in Arlington and hear from Coach Mike McCarthy, who knows a thing or two about beating the Bears. It's the 19th time he's done so in his career. Here he is at the podium.
Ready, David?
David Moore, Dallas Morning News. We've sat here after games and asked you about the offense not actually kind of getting in a good rhythm. Can you just talk about today coming out touchdowns on the first 4 possessions?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, really, as a whole football team, I'm so happy to see the production today because, I mean, this team has been practicing very well. And that's something as a head coach, you want to see them, obviously, you want to have success every Sunday, but you definitely want to see them rewarded for doing the extra. And we have. You know, we been really focused on third down offensively. Obviously, you know, I think you get what you emphasize in this league and had a good day on third down. Knew we had to run the ball today, you know, just respect for their defense and how they play. We definitely hit that. I think we had, 200 yards rushing. So, it's nice to see these guys rewarded because a lot of positive things. We had the ball out a number of times defensively. Obviously, the run defense will, and we know that's the way people are going to continue to really come after us. I thought the Bears had a really good playing a lot of scheme, a lot of different things, a lot of misdirection. So, I think that the new direction today established Monday night against New England. We saw the second version of it. So this is definitely a game we could be better for. But I was just happy with the way the game started because that's what the preparation looked like, and I think that's always a sign of a team hopefully starting to catch a little bit of their groove because it's just like anything to win in this league. You have to have it in all 3 phases, and frankly we haven't done that yet this year. And today is as close as we have gotten to it.
Mike Edwarder with ESPN. Tony Pollard, I assume, at least met your expectations starting for Zeke. Could you just speak to the question of his versatility and how it allows you to be more creative offensively?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we look at Tony, as a one and Zeke as a one. I know everybody keeps trying to. I mean, we're very fortunate to have this duo of backs. I mean, and we prepare that way, we scheme that way, and Tony just took the lead spot. We planned on the goal is to get him around 20 carries was what I was looking for. And frankly, if the game would have gone a different direction, he could have gone to 30. I mean, that's just the outlook as you prepare to play an opponent each and every week. But yeah, Tony's a very disciplined runner, and he's got the home run speed. I mean, he has the ability to run inside the tackles, but then he gets on the perimeter. He's dangerous because he breaks tackles and he can finish the run. So I thought Tony Pollard played the way he always does. He just had more opportunities today.
Mike, the Micah Parsons play, being pushed behind Fields, getting down in that position to make that, just your description of that play and how rare is it for anybody to be able to make that sort of play given where he was and how it unfolded? Yeah,
I mean, Mike is such a dynamic player, and those are game-changing type plays. Not only to, create the takeaway, but to be able to finish it. I'm just, I was obviously very excited, but part of me is annoyed because he wants to be on offense already. Now, I'm going to have a hard time keeping out of my office. So. But his ball security was awful. So he still needs to focus on defense.
Coach Stu Myrick from the Horn, 104.9 in Austin. Going into the bye with a win. Defensive players took some bumps today, some bumps and bruises. I know you're looking for them to heal up in the bye week. What else are you looking forward to in the bye week?
I'll be honest with you. I'm just looking for these guys to spend as much time as they can with their family and their friends and get away from it. This NFL season is a grind. 17 games is real, and that's the way we approach it. And I think, like anything, as a head coach, as a younger head coach, do you give them the schedule early? Do you let them plan and so forth? But I gave this team the schedule last Monday, and and with that, I think it's a great opportunity to give them some type of responsibility to make sure they took care of business today. We even talked about 54% of the teams, 54% win of teams going into a bye, and that's not cutting it. We don't want to be in that part of that group, so we want to be in that, in the higher group. We averaged 72+% win percentage in the last 2 years. So I think things like that, because anytime you give a group of people more responsibility, obviously it's the levels of trust you continue to do. And this team is it's built the right way, and it starts in the locker room. And I just like the maturity of how we worked this week. This was a good work week, and I think when you have a good work week and you're rewarded, that's what I'm looking for. So these guys deserve this time that they have off. We give them instruction and reminders and things like that. As far as the nutritious, talking to them, the strength conditioning. So, this is important for them to get away from it a little bit. And the reality of it is, a lot of them won't. They'll be in here in the facility. That's just kind of the way this group is wired. So, but it's a good time for us as a football team to have a bye week.
So Mike McCarthy and his Dallas Cowboys are at 6-2 entering the bye week. They had a dominant win today over the Chicago Bears. They did so in big fashion, 49-29. And sure, not perfect. Nothing is perfect. No team right now in the NFL is perfect. The only one that has had a perfect record is, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles. You're in a bit of a battle, so it may kind of diminish what the record has looked like to this point, but you'd have to be really happy with the way that this team has stayed consistent throughout the season, especially when things started off so poorly in week one.
Without a doubt. I got to give my hats off to Mike McCarthy out there. I think he's doing a heck of a job with this team. I mean, if we talked about it from last year in that playoff game all the way up to the beginning of this year, everybody was talking about the penalties and how bad this team is and how undisciplined this team is. Slowly but surely, he's gotten this team more disciplined, and they're not hurting themselves as they did at one point. And then you talk about starting fast. I mean, every time I talked about these teams last year, it was, they came out slow. They're not energy. They don't have enough energy. This game right here, they started out fast and they started out furious. And to me, it echoes all the way to Mike McCarthy and how he's changed this culture of this Dallas Cowboys football team. He's done a heck of a job so far.
He's just been consistent, Barry. And Kyle, I mean, he didn't blink When we lost Dak, he didn't blink. He put in a system. He talked to his offensive coordinator. He made sure that he told his defensive coordinator, "It's yours, baby. We're going to ride to you." He does whatever it takes to get his team prepared and get ready to play football. And he did, once again, Zeke out, no problem. Guys on defense missing, no problem. Guys falling like flies on defense, no problem. He calms his team. He's like the running game. He's consistent. He calms his team, and everybody just rolls behind him.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up the slow starts, because even this year it's been kind of wishy-washy on whether or not the Cowboys get off to a slow start. But they've been better and more consistent at getting off to a better start. And today, if you take that start away, guess what happens when the Bears start coming back? They may be in the lead.
Oh, yeah.
They may be what you're chasing, and the Cowboys may be coming from behind. Not the case today. The Cowboys got off to a hot start. Bears answered, but then Dallas was able to pull away late. So plenty more to come from Mike McCarthy throughout the week. You can catch his entire press conference on DallasCowboys.com. And when we come back, we hear the star of the night, Mr. Tony Pollard, and his thoughts following the 49-29 win. 131 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns rushing for Tony Pollard, filling in for Ezekiel Elliott. Let's hear his thoughts following the 49-29 win over the Chicago Bears.
Way to start a game. Can you talk about your individual performance today?
Yeah, I feel like we did a great job, playing team ball. It wasn't just about me or anybody else. We did a great job playing team ball. They did a good job, fighting in there at the end, but, we did a good job finishing.
Could you talk about the balance, because you guys were throwing the ball and running the ball?
Yeah, we felt like we had pretty good success, with running and throwing the ball today. So we wanted to keep the defense guessing, just switch up the tempos, go fast, go slow, and just keep them on their toes.
Can you describe your first touchdown run?
Oh, man, it was a good one. Which one was the first one?
The 18 yards.
18. I'm trying to think about it.
You got your choice. The first one or the second one, it don't even matter. It was a good day for touchdown.
I just know the last one was tough, because I was winded, but we got in there.
And can you talk about the defense as well? They had their hands full with Chicago's running game.
Yeah, I feel like our defense did a good job battling. Other teams are going to make plays. They did a good job of making plays, the Bears. But, we did a good job sticking in there, getting turnovers at the end, and, just finishing.
Everybody's going crazy in here. Was that because you guys got the next week off? Is that what the celebration was all about with the victories?
A little bit of that and a little bit of early game, early finish. So, you add it up. It's a lot of excitement.
Congratulations, TP.
Yes, sir.
A little bit of a statement today, the way you handling things?
I think that's for y'all to decide, but, I'm going to continue to control what I can control. So.
What's like the load that you got today? Because remember earlier in the week we were asking you about having a heavy workload. So what do you think of the load you got today?
I think we did a good job, with the roles we had today, getting different backs in there, keeping guys fresh, and, getting carries, throwing the ball around when we needed to. I feel like we had a good game plan.
How would you rate your performance considering you were coming into this game obviously as a starter?
I would say I had a pretty good performance.
Overall, you talked about the team. It was actually a very offensive game. Overall, how would you describe the back and forth of the game today?
I would say it was big for offense. We needed a game like this where we could show that, when we get into the red zone, we can get 7 instead of, finishing with 3 and, just finishing with scores and points, added up at the end.
You were talking about changing things up on the Bears defense. Can you talk about going no huddle and up tempo early and often? Was that because they were coming off a short week and tired, or what is it, if it wasn't to do with them and their rest, what does it do for you guys?
We just know it's hard enough playing this game, but, once you're winded, you're not thinking the same, you're not communicating the same, so, it's a better chance of, breaking a big play or, breaking a play. So when you like to switch up the tempo, that's what we were thinking.
Today. I think he's a 3rd and 1, and he broke free for like a 24-yard run.
I think he looked great today, pulling a couple runs, RPOs, using his feet, had the first touchdown he ran in. That was big for us. I feel like he had a great game today, switching it up.
I know you said it's up to...
What a day it was for Tony Pollard getting the job done as we welcome you back into Cowboys OT. Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Nate, I'll start with you. What has Tony Pollard meant to this squad recently in the way that he has been able to fill in when needed on a day-to-day basis, but then this week when he's the guy, he was certainly the guy.
On one of our shows, Kyle, earlier this week we had Zeke's father on. And Zeke said feed Tony Pollard. You're like, what? He's like, yeah, feed Tony Pollard. He's ready to explode all over because he thought that the Bears would come in here tripping and not paying attention to him. You know what? They have to pay attention to him. What, 14 carries, 131 yards, 3 TDs, and he caught the ball well coming out of the backfield. He's a positive. He's a man to be dealt with.
I think Tony Pollard is duct tape. He is duct tape for this team. You can utilize him on absolutely everything, whether it's back there rushing the ball, whether it's receiving the ball. Even today, blocking. That was the biggest question mark. Can he sit back there and block? Because that's what Zeke normally does. I think they only gave up 1 sack collectively as an offense today. So great job, TP. Be that duct tape. Be whatever they need you to be. Fix it all.
And that offensive line up front certainly paving the way. Those big hog mileys doing their job like Nate Newton loves to see.
Right.
But you also we're going to save the debate for later. Okay, we're gonna enjoy this one. We're gonna give it to Tony Pollard. We're gonna save the debate. Ezekiel Elliott's gonna be another week healthy. You go into the bye week. This was a best case scenario for the Cowboys, thanks to Tony Pollard and that offensive line up front. But when we come back, guy on that defense scored his first career NFL touchdown. It might have been the Rookie of the Year on the defensive side of the football last year as well. Micah Parsons found the end zone. We hear from him next. 4 sacks for the Dallas defense up against the Chicago Bears in their Week 8 win. 49-29 was the final score. However, it wasn't Micah Parsons that had one of those sacks. It was 4 different Dallas defenders. But one thing that Micah Parsons did today that he hadn't done throughout his already very impressive career, find the end zone. He did that on a fumble recovery, returned it for 6. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I'm going through my rush. Once I saw he was stepping up, I kind of retraced, like once you get to a landmark in your rush, and I'm just, pursuing. And then once I see the ball's going, I'm just running to the ball. I see he broke a couple tackles and the ball came out. I just landed on the ball. That kind of popped up, ready to, celebrate with the team. I thought I was down, and everyone's like, go, go, go. And, I just went. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Zeke said I look just like him. You know what I'm saying? I think I definitely deserve a rep now. They can't say they haven't seen it in the game. So hopefully, I get thrown in a goal line package or a red zone package. But hey, who knows? There was some similarities between that play and the play you made last week against the Lions at the top of the 1-foot line. You were at the 10-yard line rushing field, recovered the fumble at 36, and then returned it for a touchdown. How much does that speak to kind of your dogged pursuit of football no matter what happens? That just shows effort, man. You can't teach effort. Coach has been hounding on me about my superpower. Like I told you guys last week, and just running to the ball regardless of if you make the play, not make the play, but you just never know what happens on the football field. And kids out there who made like, I'm running to the ball, but it's not turning out. Man, it took me a year and a half before I finally got lucky. So sometimes it's just consistency. Just keep running to the ball, keep striving, and eventually the ball's going to come your way, That's just the football gods.
How do you feel about 6-2 this fall and having a winning streak of 2 straight with this momentum going into the ball?
6-2's okay. I prefer 8-0. That's just me. I don't know who else agrees with that, but it's cool. But we just gotta keep going. It's so much football left. We got to take this bye, but we got to take it seriously. We got to take our byes, take care, get rest, so that way we got a tough NFC stretch coming in here. So, we got to be prepared for that. So, and we got to make sure we continue winning that stretch.
How do you guys evaluate your run defense? There were some struggles there today, stopping them on that level. What do you guys need to do to make that part of your defense?
That's the thing. I think we're getting a different game plan from everyone else, and I think there was a couple points in the game where we were kind of surprised about the run. There were some 3rd and longs they ran it where we were surprised and maybe got caught off guard. So we just got to own our keys a little bit more and just be prepared for anything. I think teams realize we have a really good defense, so they're going to try to hit us in the most bizarre ways. So we got to expect the unexpected at this point. For me, it hit home for me because Damon's like my little brother. I remember when he got drafted. He reached out to me. We had the same agent. And he called me and said, hey, man, I'm super happy to play with you. And, how does it and he just asked me a bunch of questions. I'm like, man, and I know about his injuries. Like, I'm not really expected to play. And, he's texting me. He's frustrated. He's not playing. And, you know, for me, and I'm trying to tell him, I'm like, just be patient. Your time's coming, your time's coming. And when he got cleared and he got his green light to play, man, and, you know, internally I wish I could have watched him, but, you know, just play out there with him, knowing how hungry he was to get out the field. You know, he's out there begging for scout team reps so he could get better, get back in the rhythm of things. So for me, it hit home for me because that's like my little brother, man. We hang out, we go bowling every Monday. I take him bowling. I whoop his butt in bowling. I hope y'all know that. But, you know, for me, I'm just happy he's playing. He's getting back in his rhythm because, you know, I think he loved the game more than anybody on his team.
Mike, what do you think the key is to tightening up the run defense?
Like I said, we got expected, unexpected, and we just got on our keys. We got dial in. You know, I think we all know we want to pass rush, and that's kind of like our superpower, and you know that's what we're really good at. But you know, we gotta stop the run to get to those pass situations, and we just gotta own our keys, and you know, obviously we gotta start work our hands a lot more, and you know, get off blocks.
So there he is, Micah Parsons, following his first career touchdown in the NFL. How about that? He returned it all the way. It was an interesting play. We saw it earlier in the show on the highlight package if you want to go back and look at it. Justin Fields had a chance to touch him and put him down by contact. Instead, he jumped right over the top of him, and Parsons took it home. What was your thought on the defense and how they performed?
Oh, the defense was remarkable. And once again, of course, you know, Micah Parsons was just as great as a defender out there. But what you love most about this guy is not the, you know, freakish athletic ability. It's not his versatility. It's his motor and his heart out there. If you look at that play where he scored, he was past the quarterback. You know, most guys would have given up. He came back, chased down the ball, picked up the ball, and took it all the way to the end zone. Used his best, you know, running back impersonation out there. So not only is the guy uber talented, but he has an unbelievable motor, and that's gonna last in this league a very long time.
Yeah, he's relentless. And what an amazing athletic play by Justin Fields, huh? The jump over him. Wow, I can't believe that. Anyways, you talk about his ability to just be relentless and his ability just to keep going. It's rubbing off. And you're starting to see guys fly around. You're starting to see guys not give up on plays simply because of the fact they saw him do it in previous weeks. He's going to continue to be a leader in that regard. He doesn't necessarily need to be the vocal leader. I don't think they're listening to his post-game interviews, but they see exactly what he does on the field every week, and they want to try to duplicate that.
I see you calling out Justin Fields from across the way. That was low. But you know what quarterback would never do that? Dak Prescott. He was our quarterback today. We hear from QB1 when we come back. We'll go right back out to AT&T Stadium right after this. Second game back from injury for Dak Prescott. 2 passing touchdowns, 1 on the ground as well for QB1. Here he is at the podium following the 49-29 win.
Yeah, Dak, can you just talk about the Clarence Hill Forward Star Telegram? The offense certainly had it going. You were as wide open as you've been all season, scoring 4 touchdowns, so your first 4 drives. How good did you feel? How good did it feel to get the offense finally going?
Yeah, it felt great. That's something that we talked about during the week, and as I said in the past, just understanding the team we have, the defense that we have, we got to reward these guys and go get some touchdowns and set our standard, knowing our expectations and who we are and what we can be. We had to go put it out there, and I think we owed that to ourselves more importantly, just from the work and everything that we put in, winning some of these games close and grinding them out. It was important for us to go out there and start fast.
How did you feel?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I felt great. Yeah, I felt great. As I told y'all, yeah, I've got a lot of confidence in myself and this team and what we're capable of doing, our receivers, and other than, honestly, the interception, which I put on me and that's overconfidence, honestly. Once again, just trying to, believing I can't miss. And right there, once again, it's a communication. I'll go back to CD, and we already went back, and, hey, I trust you. I mean, I know it's a dangerous throw, and I know it's obviously ended up in an interception, but I think you'll see we'll make that play later in the year. And sure, people say it's a dangerous throw and it's aggressive, but that's the way I'm going to play.
Make no mistake, Dak's running game needs to be part of our running game. You have the touchdown today. You've got the 25-yard carry. Take us through what you planned going in and what you were able to do with your legs today.
Yeah, I mean, tell her we said, hey, please. Yeah, I mean, obviously feeling well, feeling healthy, knowing that I can run the ball. It's just going to open this offense up more, obviously open up the running game. And, yeah, I mean, it was a great play call by Kellen, just great with the timing of it. And, yeah, when I stuck my arms out, that was for Jerry. Here you go. You asked for it, you got it. So.
Patrick, well, DallasCowboys.com. Sticking to the running game and what you were able to do with your legs today, when you are able to bounce off of tackles and rattle it off what was a QB sneak for, 25 yards in the first down, what kind of message do you feel that sends to defenders who maybe thought that you didn't have the legs or that you just stopped running late?
Yeah, I mean, I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I'm not necessarily worried about sending messages to these guys. I think more importantly, credit that QB sneak to our offensive line. I mean, I had my head down just trying to go get the first down and just moving my feet. And I'm like, wait a minute, nobody's touched me yet. And just kind of came out of that and looked up, and it was just me and the safety. So, I mean, going for a QB sneak untouched until 20 yards down the field is credit to those guys. And credit to the receivers and just everybody. Putting a hat on somebody, as I said, finishing plays. We talked about it early in the week, making sure that we finish plays and all the way through, and making sure that we have more bodies and more jerseys on the camera than they do.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. So it looks as if you cut your other thumb on that play?
Yeah. Just my luck right now. It's all right. I mean, yeah, I guess when going down, I guess he stepped on my hand or something. Scraped right there by the nail. Just was bleeding a lot, but not painful. It'll be all right. Just skin.
What does tempo do for you guys, especially early in the ball game?
Yeah, tempo is huge. Just the pace of operation, that just puts pressure on the defense. Obviously makes them make more simple calls, I guess you can say. Put pressure on the defensive coordinator. And for us, we know what we're trying to get to, and we can communicate well. We can muddle huddle, as you want to say, and we're great on the ball as well, just in our communication. So just changing that up, being able to get into turbos, being able to stay on the ball, huddle up. The defense doesn't know what to expect, and when you're able to start a drive and bounce in and out of it, that's great. And I think that's going to be huge for us moving forward.
Safe to say that the confidence level for the offense elevated from Week 7 to Week 8, and now you got a bye week to get ready for the Green Bay Packers in Week 10. When we come back, we wrap up the 49-29 win over the Chicago Bears, tie a bow on that, and look ahead to the bye week and what's ahead for your Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys OT was brought to you by Sleep Number. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
200 rushing yards and 7 total touchdowns for the Dallas Cowboys in their win over the Chicago Bears. 49-29, the final score from AT&T Stadium, as the Cowboys move into their bye week on a high note, 6-2, and squarely in contention in the NFC that, at least at this point in the season, looks wide open. Welcome in to Cowboys OT in the final segment. We got Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback wrapping things up. I'm Kyle Yeomans. What's next for the Cowboys? You head into this bye week. What do you want to see them improve upon?
Well, offensively, I think they got to improve a little bit on the receivers as far as getting separation from the defensive backs out there. I mean, we've seen it so far. They haven't really gotten a lot of separation. There's tight windows that Dak Prescott has to throw into. They're doing a better job of actually catching the football and being more consistent in that regard. But overall, I'd like to see these receivers get a little bit more open, making the windows a little bit more open for Dak Prescott.
For me, I'd just like to see the offensive line get a little bit cleaner in their technique, especially my left tackle when they're switching with my guard. I'd like to see that be a little bit more cleaner and keep them off Dak. It's not so much the sacks, but as just letting them leak into him. You got to finish the block.
Find a resolution for this run defense. This run defense has to find a way to get shored up. Obviously, we added Big John Hankins this past week. We have to find a way to get him enthralled into the defense. But we also have the young gun, okay, at the linebacker position, and we have to get him in there as well, okay? And then on the offensive side of the ball, we have to be able to line up and throw the ball. Right now, we know the play-action pass works, but right now I don't think we have any confidence in their ability to just simply line up, beat somebody off the line of scrimmage, run a nice route, and deliver a nice ball on them.
And it really looks like the bye week is coming at a good time, too. A couple guys banged up on the defensive side of things. You already saw Ezekiel Elliott not available. Does a bye week help out? You guys played. I mean, it helps, right?
It's a perfect time for a bye week.
Okay.
I never had one. We had him, but we
Nate
never had
doesn't take
one.
time off. Nate doesn't need a bye week.
He had
He's
too
Nate
many
Newton.
donuts.
Yeah, taking all the donuts. That's what we get for these noon kickoffs is the donuts all throughout the studio, and we got to get through it and push through here on postgame. But that does it for us here on Cowboys OT. The Dallas Cowboys get the win over the Chicago Bears, 49-29, the final score. For Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, and Kyle Yeomans, thanks for joining us. We'll see you in Week 10, Cowboys-Packers.